Hello and welcome to the Celebrating Life podcast with Sony Thomas. Let me invite you to a small thought that can create a big impact for you in celebrating your life. In today's episode of Small Thought, Big Impact, we explore the question, does objects have power to give you success? Once while guiding a group coaching program on success, a participant asked the group, does objects like lucky charm or birthstones have the power to help you succeed in your endeavors? It was a great question, and everyone in the group had a point of view and a personal experience to share. The scope of this podcast is too small to elaborate on our discussion. However, I would like to illustrate our thoughts with an interesting urban legend. It is said that years ago, a business executive was deep in debt and could not see a way out. Creditors were closing in on him, suppliers were demanding payment. He sat on the park bench, head in hand, wondering if anything could save his company from bankruptcy. Suddenly, an old man appeared before him. "I can see something is troubling you, young man," he said. After listening to the executive's problem, the old man said, "I believe I can help you." He asked the man his name, wrote a check, and put it in his hand, saying, "Take this money. Meet me here exactly 1 year from today, and you can pay me back at that time." Then he turned and quickly disappeared as he had come. The business executive saw in his hand a check for $500,000 signed by John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in the world. "I can erase my money worries in an instant," he thought to himself. Nevertheless, the executive decided to put the check in the safe instead of cashing it, gave him renewed strength to work out a way to save his business. After all, he thought, he could always fall back on the check later. With renewed optimism, he negotiated better deals and got extended terms of payment from creditors. Soon he was closing big sales. Within a few months, he was out of debt and making money once again. Exactly a year later, he returned to the park with an uncashed check. The old man did not appear for some time. Yet the business executive decided to wait for a while more. A while later, an old man came along the way but seemed to be unmindful of the business executive. He stopped the old man and was about to hand over the check with a few words of gratitude as well as to share his success story. Suddenly, a nurse came running up, grabbed the old man. "I'm so glad I caught him," she cried. "I hope he hasn't been bothering you. He's always escaping from the rest home and telling people he's John D. Rockefeller." You see, the check was only an instrument that reassured and encouraged him to strive harder and smarter towards manifesting his truth. But without the instrument, the business executive might have given up. Ultimately, the power to manifest your belief lies deep within you. To excavate that power, we might require different instruments. So use what works for you. But be careful not to become slaves to your instruments, because it is you that work to design your future and not the instrument. The only object to date that I remember having any kind of affinity towards is a wooden cross that was gifted by a priest on his return from the holy pilgrimage. Despite my lack of belief in the power of objects, the crude simplicity of the design inspired me to wear it. But I do recollect as a teenager, at times, in my self-talk, holding the wooden cross and feeling maybe this cross would protect me. Nevertheless, the struggles and turmoils of my teenage years continued with long-standing ramification into my adult life. Therefore, if I choose to, I can conclude that the object has no power. Or maybe it does, and I am actually living a better life because of it. I guess we will never know. And that, my friends, is the joy of living, the mystery. It is not for me to prove or disprove the power of objects. All I can say with confidence is that if you believe, then it manifests, object or no object. Presently, the wooden cross is hanging from my car's rearview mirror. Often I don't notice it, but when I do, it brings back good feelings of a simpler time. And I ponder on the intention of the priest. Was the wooden cross an instrument to aid me in removing all the other stuff hanging around my neck and arms? Because interestingly, only the wooden cross on a black thread remained on my neck for the longest time. There is still so much mystery in the world to understand. Despite that, the inalienable truth is that we hold the power to shape our destinies. But more often than not, we need some help to get there. Finding the right help is the key. Celebrating life is about the journey, and if I have brought value to your journey of life, I urge you to share this small thought with a close friend, a family member, or even a colleague so we can together build a happier world. For more thoughts on celebrating life, I invite you to stay connected with us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the Celebrating Life community. Thank you for your time and make it a wonderful day.